Adam, welcome back to the show, my friend. It's been like 2 months since we did the disastrous Nations League performance by the USMNT against Panama and Canada, which left you and I both not feeling very optimistic about this team going forward. Well, fast forward 2 months, where the Gold Cup is right around the corner. We got two friendlies against Turkey and Switzerland. But before we get into that, how are you doing, my friend? It's been a while.
Yeah, doing good, man. My Boston Celtics are out of the playoffs for the first time before the Eastern Conference Finals in a while, it feels like. Feels like that hasn't happened. And, it felt like it was kind of I enjoyed the final day of the Premier League the other day. Well, it's always fun watching that final day. And, this year it was, obviously less about the title and all about, but man, like that, the race for the Champions League was really awesome. Just a race for those, top spots. And it's like, just having Forest involved and Aston Villa, like it's just cool. Like kind of seeing some different players in the mix, I thought was fun. I was cheering hard against Chelsea. That just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm going to be anti-Chelsea until, I don't know, something happens to make me change my tune. But I'm good, man. How you been? How's life?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We just had a gender reveal party yesterday. I'm having a girl. So first kid on the way. Very excited about that. Hopefully she loves soccer as much as we do and all sports. But yeah, life is going good. But with all that good news, I believe some bad news could be around the corner with our USMNT. You talked about your Celtics getting bounced, not making the Eastern Conference Final. I don't think that this summer is going to be as disappointing as last summer, because last summer was really disappointing. But let's get into this roster, okay? I'm going to pull this up for you so you can look at it. This is the Gold Cup roster that, Pochettino's first Gold Cup roster as the USMNT manager. Now, this is a very, very heavy MLS-based roster. What is your take on this, his first team he's bringing to the Gold Cup, and obviously some key guys missing? Hey, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of my videos. Now, back to the video.
Yeah. So who are the key guys missing? I guess can we establish that first?
Yeah. So Pulisic isn't there. Weah is not there. Moose is not there. Jedi is not there. A lot of I'm trying to think who else.
Pepe.
Pepe's
right?
not there.
There. You said Weah.
Yep. Weah, Musa.
Weah. So, I mean, that's 6 pretty core guys, right? Flo is there.
Yes.
Gio. Did you mention Gio?
Yeah, Gio's not there. Yes, Gio's not there.
So it's like 6, 7 of what we would, I think, probably expect to be the top 13, 14, right? At least, like, maybe some people don't have Musa in the starting 11, which is fine, but like certainly he's a key bench guy. And so, it's almost like more so than who is here, right? I think the narrative for me is who isn't there, right? And, I did a whole thread the other day about how I was feeling after this came out and just after the announcement that Pulisic wouldn't be there and that a couple other guys were kind of pulling out, which I got. I totally get it, right? I think you have to be like almost not human to understand why, but it's just so disappointing, man. Coming off like a coaching change less than a year ago, a new manager who basically has now had, call it 3 camps with the A team, I think, maybe something like that.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, not much, and like not all of them have been at those camps. A lot of those guys were at 1 or 0, I think. So it's like, when was the last time those guys played with Dest? When was the last time Weah and Dest played together? When was the last time Pulisic played with Gio? Really, so it's like it almost looks like this roster, World Cup roster, potentially could look far different than how we've all envisioned it. I'm not suggesting a bunch of guys are not going to be there, but I just think that like the fringe guys might be way different. Poch might have some way different ideas, especially when his exposure to certain guys is really low. I think we have to start doubting what Gio Reyna's role is going to be. I think a lot of us who know the game and have followed him understand what the potential for what his role could be, or even probably should be if he's in form and if the manager is using him correctly and getting him involved. But for whatever reason, the dude just can't crack a roster anywhere at any time. Like, can't crack a lineup, can't get on the field. Like, it's wild. And so then you factor in other things, like, okay, well, what's Moose's role in this team? Is he a winger? Like, is that what he is? It's all we've seen. We're not going to see it this summer. So, like, we're starting to get to a point, I think I've said this with you a bunch, Will, like, where the margin of error starts to get really thin. It doesn't mean it can't be done, but, like, you're starting to go, okay, we got, how many camps do we have in the fall again? 3? And then what do we have? We have like a spring camp and basically the pre-World Cup. Oh, crap. Like, oh, shoot. Like, that is not much time together. And there's no guarantee that some of these guys are going to be healthy through the year to be at those camps, right?
No, exactly. No, and also too, like, so this is kind of where I stand on it, right? Me and you talked about the Nations League. There were so many guys out there who just didn't seem like they gave a shit to be here, right? They just didn't care. They were checked out. They weren't giving full effort. And then one of the guys that me and you were impressed by was Luna, right? He was like one of the only bright spots of effort. He's not as talented as some of these guys are. Me and you have never said that, right? Tillman was the player of the year in their Eredivisie. No one's saying that Luna's better than him, but he does perform better for the USMNT, or he has at least done more. Tillman's done nothing for the USMNT. So I'm torn on it because, yes, our core guys are out, but a lot of those core guys just don't really deliver when they need to. Me and you come from the perspective like they do need to deliver. Like, these are the guys you need to deliver if you want to have any chance of competing for a World Cup. They haven't. Yes, so some of these guys are going to come in here and try to prove themselves. Now, there are several names on this list that just doesn't get anyone excited. I'm not trying to have anybody catch these strays like Patrick Ajimong, but we talked about how he's just not a international like goal scorer. He's not an international player level. Like, he's not USMNT level. He's not a guy that should be making your World Cup roster. Let's be honest. He shouldn't be. Brian White is a guy who's 30 years old, MLS lifer, pretty good MLS goal scorer, right? Kind of just feels like a little bit more of a polished Chris Wondolowski. Nothing crazy, right? He's just kind of like a generic, MLS goal scorer. I mean, but he's better than just generic. But you get what I'm like. He's nothing special. Like, he's not going to go to the Premier League or a top 5 league, and that talent's going to transition or carry over to those leagues. So I don't know. Maybe this is what they needed, but it doesn't feel like Pochettino left these other guys off to let these guys earn their spot. It felt like the guys that aren't here turned us down. They didn't want to come to this tournament. They're like, this tournament's a joke. We don't want to be here.
Well, a bunch of those guys are Club World Cup, right? So that's like, which I still will never understand how, like, the clubs own these guys during the summer, right? Like, it's absurd. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's absurd that the Club World Cup was put in that time frame, in my opinion. Like, it's always been an international time frame. It's always been time off. It's always right. Like, so, like, those Club World Cup guys are doing Club World Cup and then going right to training camp for the club.
Yeah.
So they're going right from the season to Club World Cup to training camp, 0 time. Like, that's crazy, especially the year before the World Cup. That's wild. Not just for our guys. Like, you have some big time international players who are doing that, right? Who are getting no reps with their national team the summer before World Cup, and getting probably less time off. Like, it's just like, I don't know. So that's a whole thing in and of itself, right? Put that in a bubble it up, put it up here. Crazy. Gio Reyna not being able to get out of it, if that's true, is wild. Why would Dortmund even not want him to go maybe play for the national team and increase his sale price? Like, because they're not freaking letting the guy play to increase his sale price. Like, so that doesn't make any sense. Like, all the other guys, it just kind of sucks because, like, other than really, West, like, they're all kind of bit players. The Juventus guys aren't really going to get crazy reps. Like, it's just like that whole thing's a mess. And then you have now, I guess it's just really Pulisic and Jedi who are sitting out. Anybody else that's kind of like taking it off?
I want to say, let's see, Pulisic, obviously, Jedi.
Pepe's still hurt, right?
Who'd you say?
Pepe's still coming back from injury, right?
Yeah, Pepe's still coming back from injury. Yeah. I do think that it was the Club World Cup, but I don't know if maybe the reason why the Club World Cup, the teams like Juve and like you said, and like Dortmund, maybe are not allowing them to come because maybe they're thinking it will have some type of appeal for sales. Like, oh, we have this guy, he's in your country for this tournament. Maybe that's why they don't want to release him. But it's still stupid though. It's dumb, you know? But I wanted to get your opinion on the Pulisic thing more specifically because it kind of pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Me too.
This guy is supposed to be the guy. Now, maybe he's not the leader we all expect him to be, but like off the pitch, but he's supposed to be the guy who comes and plays and does when his country calls him up, he does not turn it down. He goes and plays when he can, right? This isn't Camp Cupcake, even though it kind of seems like it's turning into that for the Gold Cup, but you would think that he would want to play, like you said a minute ago, would want to take this opportunity to be in camp, play under Pochettino, try to build some chemistry with his not just new teammates, but under this new system. Why would he not do this?
And so as much as you've kind of called it Camp Cupcake, which I don't think is unfair, right? Look at the roster in front of you, right? And just go down the list, go down the field players, right? I'm going to name guys that I think are in serious contention for World Cup roster spots, or to me are locks if healthy. Serginho Dest, okay, Mark McKenzie, Tim Weah at this point. I guess you'd have to say, I mean, not just him, probably a lot of center backs are in the mix. Chris Richards, Miles Robinson is certainly in the mix. Not Sebastian Berhalter, sorry. Tyler Adams, Johnny Cardoza. Sure, Luca De La Torre. I mean, he's in the mix and he should have a chance to earn it. Diego Luna, for sure. McGlynn, yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, it's a year left. Tillman, it's 11. I'd have to admit, honestly, I just haven't watched that much Columbus, and when I have, like, that name, Sean Zawat, like it's on the fringe of my knowledge, dude. And I like follow this stuff. I'm not MLS guy, you know that, but like I still like feel like I know a lot of players, and that one came up, and I was like, oh, that's edge of my knowledge base. Like I was like, midfielder for Columbus, I think. Like, would not bet much money on it. Like, anyway, so that's 11. And then, Aronson, I think you'd have to put him in the mix. I mean, I hope Ajimong is not in the mix. Balogun, and Haji. So there's 14 guys that I think are like, some of those are like very fringy for sure. I probably named 2 or 3 that it's like, ooh, he needs to get a lot better, or I'm not sure he's there yet. And then I also named a couple guys that it's like no brainer. But there's still, you could call it 10 guys, right? There are 10 guys who are probably like very firm contention for the World Cup, and another 3, 4, 5 guys that probably are like in the mix trying to like, elevate themselves. So let's not even underplay the Pulisic thing, right? Like this is not like a January camp where there's literally no guys or maybe one. So what are you doing? Like, here's my thing, and maybe I just overvalue this, and this isn't how the world works in professional sports, but like when my leaders were hurt when I coached college hoops, like I wanted those guys to be around all the time, Even the guys who weren't yet good leaders, I was like, what are you doing today in practice? How are you contributing? I get you're out. I don't want you sitting against a wall doing nothing. Like, what are you going to do? Like, can you get a chair and can you come close? Like, can you stand? Cool. Can you come on the sideline? Can you help coach dudes up? Right? Can you stat keep? And through stat keeping, can you go have a one-on-one with your backup who now might need to start for us next week and tell him, yo, man, 4 turnovers in practice so far, right? Too many. And so like, I would like encourage them to lead, right? And like, these were 18 to 22-year-olds, not 26-year-old pros. Like, Pulisic has to be there. Like, I don't even care. I said this in my thread that I put out the other day. Like, I don't care if you're like, hey, group play, like, can we just come up with like a big time load management for me? Right. I'll play first half a couple games, maybe like the most challenging game. I'll play more. I'll sit one. And then like come knockout, right? Like, let's get me in the mix, And once again, even if he's only able to play less, and that's well known by everyone, that's better than not being there. Like, one, you're there and you actually can play for us, which would be nice to like win, feel what winning is, right? Some of our best players, or at least as many as we can get together, feel what winning a trophy is like again, feel what success is like again, feel what it's like under a new coach, right? 3 weeks to work on training a system that looked shambolic in the Nations League, right? Like, looked like you guys didn't know what you were doing. Like, you didn't know how to break a low block, against Canada, didn't look like you knew how to like handle pressure. So it's like, what do you guys do well? Like, what do we do well? We faced like all styles in 2 games. We couldn't do anything. And now you're like just opting out. And so it's like, okay, cool. Like, this group might figure it out. But unfortunately, what we need is we kind of need like 7 guys who aren't there to do it well as well. So it's like, would it be a success if we have a nice summer, win a Gold Cup with this group? For sure. I don't think that's going to happen, just being honest. But like, yeah, but even if we do, Will, like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, I was going to ask you this too about Pulisic is, do you think maybe that there may be some tension between him and Pochettino? Maybe he's not sold on him and he's like, I really don't care for this guy and I have the option to sit out. I just don't want to be around.
Even if that was true, that's even softer. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
Your country needs you, dog. Like, this is his legacy. Sorry. Don't care that you made it out of the group in 2022. If you get grouped at home, in a 36 team, how many teams are in the World Cup? 36?
I think it's 48 now or 60. It's 48 now. Yeah, 48 now.
125, right? Like, if you get grouped in this World Cup at home, right? Home teams don't get grouped. Like, South Africa in my lifetime is like the only one I remember that I think got grouped. Like, that's crazy. You and your boys are all in your prime. Like, at home, pot A, like, should have an easier road. And like, honestly, if you don't make a statement at this World Cup in some way, quarterfinal, right? Like, then that's your legacy. That's what you're going to be known for, man. Like, because 2030 is going to come around and like, dog, you're going to be like 31. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe that could be his legacy, but like, I wouldn't lean on it. To me, this is it. So like, what are we doing? Like, you've got a couple summers of your life where you could go all in on this national team and make a big impact, and you're just kind of opting out of a summer.
Well, we can't undercut this. This was supposed to be our moment. Everybody talked about this. You, Tack, Pete, Derek, Brett, whoever it may be. We all talked about how the stars aligned. We were going to get this opportunity in 26 to have all of our stars be in probably the prime, not just physically, but mentally, because they're still obviously able-bodied and they have like the smarts and the experience that they, to go with it. And you're hosting it at home. We've heard, like you just said, South Africa may be the one team that has underperformed, hosting, but usually every hosting country overperforms. They do very well. They do really well in the tournament. All of them do, except for South Africa. But let's be honest. I'm not saying South Africa doesn't have talent, but the USMNT should be able to. They're not like absolute bums, or they shouldn't be. And then also you take into account the overperformance aspect of it. This should be not necessarily our year to win it, but to do something incredible. Maybe make it to a quarterfinals, maybe even a semifinals. Who knows? The way I look at it, Adam, and I want to get into like what you would think would be success and how you're feeling about it, but I just feel like with as little time as we have, you cannot waste opportunities. You have to maximize every chance you get, and every 18 player should be in this camp again. And I know we were frustrated. We said last camp that like, okay, some of these guys need to get weeded out because they're just not doing anything for us, but you still need to try things. Me and you didn't even get to see what Ballo looked like with the first team. We have not seen. Have we even seen Ballo play under Poch yet? I don't think we have. I think maybe against Jamaica, maybe.
Yeah, I'd honestly, I'd have to look it up. To your point, it's all. There's a lot of guys, right? I don't think we've seen Des play under him.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't seen Des play.
Right, and like there's other guys that are like one camp guys. I'd have to go through it all, but it's like he has a bunch of guys that it's like just haven't played for him. So let me put a bow on the Pulisic thing, right? At least a little bit here. Like, when you have ownership of something, right? Like, let's say, you and me went 50-50 on a business, right? And we opened a store or something, and all of a sudden it's just like sales are tanking and crashing. We wouldn't be like, hey man, you want to take PTO next week? Like, no, you'd have strategy sessions. You're like, yo, all hands on deck. I know this isn't optimal, but like all hands on deck. Like, our company's falling apart. Like, it's now or never. Like, let's go all in. And like, we didn't just thrive in the Nations League. Like, am I missing something? If we balled out in the Nations League, I could see it, right? It's like, hey, stuff is moving nice. To me, Nations League was like, red flag, everyone, flag on the play. Like, let's get in this summer together and let's solve this thing. And let's get 3 weeks together and let's like go all in and let's have a camp where we bond and we train and if you're injured, you're there and you're learning and you're a part of it. And guys are just kind of like, peace, 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 peace. Hey, good luck. Like, have fun. Like, see you in the Insta comments. It's like, yo, like, do I care more about this than you guys? Like, I think I might. Like, problematic for me. Like, problematic for them. Like, it's a rough look for me and them. Like, I don't know, man. Like, so that's to me, that's what I see, where it's like, okay, I get that you're tired, get that you just played. I saw a stat, like, he's one of few players in European soccer who played over 50 games 2 straight seasons.
Yeah.
But like, this is it, dog. You got 2 summers. Like, figure it out. And if you don't like Poch, figure it out, bro. And
no,
like,
exactly. Well, and also too, it's like, I mean, Adam, could you imagine getting that? And this kind of goes back, which this is a whole separate discussion, but the entitlement that our guys have, just like, I just can't imagine turning down an opportunity to represent the red, white, and blue. It's not the Gold Cup or the Camp Cupcake. This is, everybody jokes about the Nations League being a joke because it kind of is, right? But I mean, I think Gold Cup is a little bit more important than Nations League. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's marginally, but it is a little bit more important. And this is the biggest tournament we're going to be playing in until the World Cup. And
the US soccer has devalued it. Like, that's
the Gold Cup. Yeah,
that's fact. And apparently it's still, I thought this summer, because it was a standalone this summer, I got it. When Nations League and this were in the same summer, I kind of got it. It's like, let's pick one and let's go all in on one. And I got why you went all in on the Nations League, because it's like, hey, we can get 1 or 2 friendlies against some good comp. I remember one year we played Switzerland, like, and then we can have 2 games against 2 of the best teams in CONCACAF. We don't need to go through Haiti and every other small nation, which are pointless games usually, honestly, right? Like, so I kind of got it, but now it's like, this is it, man. Like, this is the dress rehearsal, and the star of the play is opting out of the dress rehearsal when the last rehearsal was a disaster. Like, and so I get that it's actually not, and that we have some other camps, but I think we're kind of just hoping that everybody stays healthy. We're kind of hoping that it comes together and that we find some of that magic that happens with national teams sometimes when you have one camp with a new coach and you just kind of figure it out. Where I think we're just kind of praying top down, and there's not much strategy behind it. It's just like, we'll figure it out next summer. Like, come on back.
So we play Turkey and Switzerland, I think in 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks, and then the Gold Cup starts.
And those are good games, right? Like, you're missing those. Like, I kind of forgot about those. So you're missing those, and then you're missing like just the rhythm. The thing I like about Gold Cup is the rhythm of it is similar to the World Cup. Group, knockout, right? You can rehearse a little bit of that. How do we manage a group? How do we manage knockout games? You can teach through that. This is Poch's first chance to, teach through that stuff. And so I like the fact that we have 10 to 15 guys who are maybe seriously in the running for the World Cup there. I hate that 7 or 8 guys that I expect to play big minutes in a World Cup aren't.
No, I agree. And, most camps, you sometimes you'll play maybe 2 games, maybe 3 sometimes. But this is an opportunity where if things go right, you could play, like, including those friendlies, maybe like 6, 7 games.
Yeah.
That's how often you get to play that many games with your national team teammates. Like, this is just, it's a missed opportunity. But that leads me into asking you this. the Gold Cup, I think, matters because of just there's a lot riding. I mean, normally it wouldn't, like if we don't win it, then it would just be like, okay, whatever. But we need as much momentum as we possibly can get. Have to make out the group stage. Can't get grouped like we did last year in the Copa America. Can't happen. What exactly are you expecting? Like, what should be the goals coming out of this? Or is it just looking better? I mean, is there like a win expectation for you?
I think with this roster, it would be disappointing. It would still be disappointing if we didn't make the final to me. Like, I get that we're missing 6, 7 key pieces, and that might be unrealistic, but like to me, it's like we have a really good manager, right? Quote unquote.
We're supposed to.
Theoretically. And that really good manager should, with this much, he's a lot of time this summer, right? He's got 2 friendly games. He's got a lot of time to figure this out. And like I said before, he still has 10 to 15 guys who should be a part of our World Cup. And he's got a lot of starters in there. So he still has starters in the mix. I think that the playmaking wingers, when I look at the roster, that's where I'm kind of like, how does the ball go from the back row to the front? I worry about that, right? With the MLS crew guys, are there wingers on this crew? I don't know. Brendan Harris, like, you don't have very dynamic wingers. So there's some flaws in there, but I don't know. If you got bounced before the semis in this thing, then it's a total disaster. If you lose in the semis, it's still kind of like, I don't know. Once again, also how you look matters, right? How we play matter, like, so to me, that always does matter in soccer, right? If you look really good and you play really good and, rub of the green or you get unlucky, maybe I'll feel a little different, but I want to see a finals run, and then anything would happen in a final against a Mexico or a Canada. But I'd like to beat one of those teams, right? Like, that's the other kind of sneaky thing is we don't really play those guys again after this. I don't think. Is there Nations League next year?
I think there was one. I think that they did announce a friendly against Mexico before the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I do think there maybe later this year in Mexico. I think we're supposed to play Mexico later this year. But it just feels like even the crazy thing is, Adam, is that Canada, I will admit, is definitely more talented now than they were 10 years ago, obviously, right? But this Mexico team is not as talented as they were 10 years ago. They're not even close. Like, anyone saying that is just, they're out of their mind, right? Yet it feels like they completely, both teams just wash us now. Like, they absolutely give us a wedgie, pull our underwear overhead, give us a swirly, whatever. They're bullying us, man. They're taking our lunch money. These two nations are. And it's crazy. We used to be able to beat both of those teams, or Mexico would probably be a little bit more 50-50, but it felt like we could beat those teams almost in our sleep at one point. And now, with supposedly a more talented team, we're struggling. And maybe it is more a deeper lying issue than just talent. Maybe it is just those guys have players that are more motivated, more hungry, bleed for their country. Obviously, people question Pulisic because he didn't want to represent his country. Maybe I'll be curious to see what some of these hungry guys, because there are these guys in MLS who are going to try to prove themselves and try to cement themselves in this roster. Maybe that's what we needed. Maybe this will be like a breath of fresh air. I'm not going to get my hopes up about it. I'm not going to say that this is going to fix all the problems, but it's definitely something different.
One of our theories about like Cardoza and Tillman, one of the theories I've had is like they've kind of gotten on the field and they look around, and both those guys have played a lot with like the first team. And they've gotten around and they've been like, ooh, I'll kind of fit in, And I think that is the opportunity this summer is for those guys to look around and be like, I got to stand out. Like, if I don't do it, right? So I talked about creativity. Like, Tillman's got to look around and be like, well, nobody else is going to bring creativity in the middle of the park. So it's got to be me. Like, and this is an opportunity for him to really stand out. Luna, who we saw, I think, be a bright spot, maybe the only bright spot of last camp. Great opportunity for him to build that momentum and like develop a real battle between those two guys. But honestly, in this camp, I could see them playing together. I think they almost should play together just with the lack of like attacking creative options. You almost should get those guys together. And to your point, it's like, man, if we get like a Johnny breakout camp, a Tillman breakout camp, Luna continuing to shine, And I know the competition's going to be low, so I don't, we have to take all this kind of with a grain of salt, but Ballo finding his rhythm and, scoring goals, and I don't know, Haji looking good. Like, you could really come out of this being like, man, there were a lot of like good things out of guys that we had a lot of doubts about, but like to come together and, make a finals run or win this thing, you would need you would need PSV Tillman. You would need, the little Nat level Luna just all over the place, like in everybody's face, like making plays. You'd need Johnny controlling the middle of the park with Tyler. And like, who knows, maybe this is the start where it's like, wow, that's something special. Like, those guys looked really good. They looked really good in the semifinal against Canada, and we won, and they dominated the middle of the park, and then looked really good in the final against Mexico. And it's like, okay, yeah, like everybody looks good against Haiti, but like that semifinal and finals is something to build on. So I don't know, like that, though, if you want me to put a bright side on it, or like, how could this go? To me, that's how this becomes a smashing success, is we come out of it with like 3, 4, 5 guys, maybe even a couple unknowns that were like, whoa, that guy came out of nowhere and he's way better than we thought. And then all of a sudden it's like, man, these guys who are away have to come back, and they've got some guys who are balling, and now they've got to go like have an edge, and Poch is going to sell it in a way that's like, hey guys, we won the Gold Cup without you. So you can come back in, but like sorry, man, like they're starting. Like, I know you couldn't control it, but we're starting those dudes. And all of a sudden those guys are like, oh, I want to fight for my spot. In those, I think we have like pretty good September friendlies. Like, I want to fight for my spot. I gotta bring it in training. I gotta bring it when I get my minutes in the game. I'm coming off the bench in game 1. Like, so I'm just imagining a scenario here, Will, right? But where it's like, that is how this becomes like the spark that lights the fire for the next year. But it's gonna, you made this point, like it has to start with the guys in this camp taking a ton of pride. Whether they are the first 11 or not, whether they're even going to be a part of, like the 60-man roster for the World Cup, like all these dudes just come in and be like, yo, this is our moment. This is our opportunity. USMNT has a massive culture problem. That this is hypothesis, but my hypothesis is we have a massive culture problem, and it starts at the top. Top of the organization has been a wreck for over a decade. Different guys, different leadership. I think all of it just kind of like, some old boys club, Berhalter, the hiring of Berhalter. How did that happen? How did that go down? Like, but you just like, if you look at the last couple managers, it's like Bob Bradley to Klinsmann to Berhalter back to Poch. We're like ping-ponging we don't have a philosophy, right? No, you and I are fans. We're all hire international. I want somebody at the top who's like, this is our philosophy in U.S. soccer. This is what we do. This is who we hire. This is how we hire them. This is the kind of personality we look for. We don't care. And I'm not saying this is the best thing, but like, we don't care if they have a big name. Like, they have to, love the shirt and have played for the shirt. That's Greg Berhalter. And then the next hire is like, well, that's not a good hire. Even if you want to hire under those circumstances, it's a fucking terrible hire. But like, there's just no semblance of like, okay, I see what you're doing. I see where the organization is moving. And to me, that just bleeds down. I think the players feel that. I think they feel no congruency, no like strategic philosophy of what they're kind of walking into day in and day out, what it's all about. And then I think it leads to stuff like this summer where it's like, I'm good, guys. Like, all right. Like,
I'm going to rest.
Like I'm going to go to Fiji for a couple weeks and like put my feet up. Versus like, if you have a strong culture, I think it's like much harder to say no to that. And I just think you get much stronger. Strong leadership at the top equals strong leadership in the middle, which equals strong leadership at the bottom. And a lot of us point to Pulisic and go, oh, so leadership on this team, when really like it's very reflective of the layers of leadership above somebody in an organization, and I think sometimes we miss that. And we have a culture problem. I don't think we know who we are. Are we possession-based? Are we 4-3-3? Are we modern? Are we old school USMNT? Are we like, we are just like, we do not know what we need to be, in my opinion, to become the best national team we can be. We've been floating in the wind and trying stuff out over the last 10, 15 years that's trendy. and we've lost the core identity of who we are. Even Berhalter, who was like a USMNT guy, totally lost the plot on like what we were about. Like he wasn't making us like about the old school. Somebody needs to come in and make us about the old school USMNT way with like a new flair that's exciting to these new guys, but keeps the core of what always made us great. You've said this a million times. I've heard you say it a million times, tweet it, say it. You can't lose the core of what made us pretty good, solid national team. Out of the group a bunch of times with less talent, quarterfinals, almost semifinals one time. Like we lost that. The essence of that has been lost, and it didn't have to be. Like I really don't think it had to be.
No, it didn't. And talking to Alexi or Tab or Eric Winalda, those teams they played on beat Colombia. They beat Brazil, right?
Sure.
And thinking about this team beating those teams almost seems unrealistic at this point. Like it would be like a huge. I mean,
better Brazil too. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, CR9. Right. And obviously Ronaldinho. I think they played against Ronaldinho. Maybe it's a little bit before, but they obviously had several very, very good guys back then.
09 team beat Spain, right? You can go back and look at those Klinsmann teams. Friendlies, a lot of them, but beat a lot of teams. Like this is not a national team that's like never beat. That's why like this modern fans, when I'm like, we should in the Copa at home, like we should be able to compete with Uruguay. I'm not saying it's a lock to win. People are like, well, you think we should compete with Uruguay? And I'm like, have you guys watched U.S. soccer for 20 years? Like, what are we talking about? Like,
no, exactly. And I know it sounds.
People have just been tainted by the last 8 years of failure, especially outside of our region. Berhalter had some success in region at home, but like we've had no success outside of that, to the point that everybody's almost forgotten that this national team with less talent used to go out on the field and line up and compete with these dudes face to face and sometimes win. Like,
hey, I want to point this out real quick because I always have to shout this out, right? I want to keep this in perspective. A national team that had Kyle Beckerman, Matt Beasler, Michael Bradley, which Michael Bradley was okay. I mean, he definitely played with heart, nothing crazy. Graham Zusi, like MLS guys, right? Well, Michael Bradley played in Europe, but you get where I'm going with this. That team got out of the group with Germany, Portugal. Keep in mind, prime Ronaldo, Portugal, 28, 29 years old Ronaldo.
Sure.
And Ghana, which Ghana was no slouch, right? That is a very good team in Africa, obviously. Got out of that group. And the talent, obviously, I think is improved.
Who won that World Cup?
Germany, which is the team they played in the group stage. Exactly.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Portugal, they definitely made the finals of the Euro. Like
they won it in 2016.
2016. Right. Couldn't remember the year. They definitely won. I know they made the final. Yeah, they won a Euro. So yeah, right. So we're talking about like two of the best 6 teams in the world at that point, right? Like,
yes,
like,
and Ghana, who is probably arguably could have been the best or second best team in our region if they were over here, right? Obviously. That was a legit group of death. I mean, it is. Several people thought we had no chance of getting out. We did. It's like, I know this sounds corny, but
I didn't think we had much of a chance.
No, I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, but like that team had heart. And also, the American Outlaws always had the corny song, "I Believe That We Will Win," obviously, but it's like, I feel like that's how our team played. I believe that we will win. Like that's how their attitude on the field. We just don't have that attitude anymore. We don't have a Jermaine Jones destroyer, absolute dog on the pitch. We just don't have one of those. Tyler Adams is. Go ahead.
No, go. Finish that.
I was gonna say Tyler Adams is a better player, I think, than Jermaine Jones. I love Tyler Adams. I do think he's a dog, but Jermaine Jones is good. Don't get me wrong. Jermaine Jones is good, but I mean, Tyler Adams is still like 25 years old. I mean, he's still, I think Jermaine Jones like 33, 34 at that time. It's not a slight at Jermaine Jones, but the charisma, the passion that Jermaine Jones played with is what would edge him out over Tyler Adams, in my opinion. Because like it felt like Jermaine Jones was willing to die on the pitch that day to win the game.
To me, the gap between Adams and him is skill, not effort. But I think I'll be 100% honest, and I've said this a bunch, and I get so much crap for it on the X app. I get so much crap as like you are the scapegoat player guy. Like I really do. I get I've gotten that for years. And I think there's probably some truth to it, but like, and I don't want to scapegoat the players fully, but I just think like just being honest, right? Like if you walk into a restaurant and the service is crappy and the food is crappy and the bartender's an ass and it took 15 minutes to get seated and there was nobody in there, right? And the check takes 30 minutes at the end. Like, yeah, man, these employees suck. I can guarantee you the place is mismanaged.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Yeah, like it is not that there's a bunch of people in a restaurant all sucking at their jobs and they all suck and they all seem to be low effort and they all seem to have no pride. Like, yeah, those things are true, but like all those people have no pride in their jobs. And what we've seen a lot in the last year or two is that we have a lot of players who have no pride in playing for the national team. But like we can keep yelling and screaming into the abyss, players, players, players. I can promise you this, man, if you don't make wholesale changes to the leadership and the structure and the culture and everything that goes in to like creating a team and a strong organization, you can put any players in and you're not going to find that. You can bring all the MLS guys in and it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. And like, and I'm not in the room every day. I don't know. I can't diagnose the problems. I wish there were reporters who were doing really good work to figure this stuff out because you can figure it out. It takes digging. It takes a little access and a little, you get like a deep throat, right? And sorry if it might sound really weird. That's a journalism quote. you get the deep throat source that comes to you and says, "Hey, don't put my name in it, but like here's the shit that's going on behind the scenes." But nobody does that. So we're left in the dark and just like the players all suck. The players all have no pride. The whole thing screams like organizational incompetence to me in a way that's like really? We can't figure out how to get this group of guys have never seemed like not passionate to me until they get on the field and they look lifeless. But like, really, like Christian Pulisic doesn't care. Like that's crazy. Like McKennie and Adams don't care. They really don't care. They just like don't care. Like that would be shocking. Tim Weah doesn't care. Like it's almost like to me, if you are scattered in how you're doing stuff, right? Which God, we've been scattered in how we like think about the last 3 years for these players in this organization. It's like post World Cup. It's like, okay, we don't have a manager. It's this one guy, then it's this other guy, and then we're bringing that guy back who like caused a mess on the way out. And then, okay, well, I guess we're doing this for a little bit. And then that guy's gone. And now we're bringing this other guy. Like, it's like upheaval, bro. Like, think about it. They've been coached by 5 regimes, Berhalter twice, but 5 regimes in under 3 years is who, like, what? Oh no, 6, right? There was another interim. Who was the interim after Berhalter got fired?
Callahan.
No, what's his name?
Mikey Veras.
Right?
Mikey Veras. Yeah.
That's 6 guys that have, how many camps have we had? Like, can we talk about how many, like the World Cup? And then like, I'd love to go look at it. Right. But like, we've had 6 managers and like 10 camps or maybe 12 camps. Like that is a disaster. What is that for building culture? What is that for like, building a style of play? To feel confident in your role, to do what Jermaine Jones did, you have to just really know this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this and I'm doing it hard and I'm doing it well. And like, we've been so scattered with that stuff. And so I think the hope is like Poch can put that in place and then guys can just be like single-minded in their role and in what they're doing, and be able to go let loose with freedom because they don't have to overthink. They don't have to overcomplicate. They don't have to over like, what's going on? Is this guy going to leave?
Well, I think too that with his flair, because he obviously is he has some of his touch on this roster. Like I believe Diego Luna is making his way to be one of Poch's guys. Like that happens every regime, right? There's always going to be 1 or 2 guys who kind of stands above everyone else that kind of comes into the fold and becomes one of the coach's guys. I honestly think, Adam, that there is a chance that Diego Luna could be a starter in 2026. I think there's a chance. I think if he takes this opportunity that we've talked about runs away with it. Like if he's the best player on the pitch in this Gold Cup for the USMNT, I don't know how you couldn't say he's a favorite to be a starter in 26. I just don't know how you couldn't, because he's got all the, and you know, maybe I'm a Luna stan. He is the most excited I've been for a USMNT player in MLS in a long time. But you have to think, he's got everything you want. He plays with heart. He plays with passion. He actually is performing on the pitch when he does play. I mean, the guy broke his nose, Adam, and he had 2 tampons up his nose and can't play the rest of the game. I mean, just think about that. Some of these other guys would have just said, "Hey, all right, coach, I'm coming out. I'm coming out. Gotta go get this checked out." Dude put 2 tampons up his nose and played the rest of the game. That's an awesome. Old school. Is that not just an old school USMNT player?
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. I love it. I truly believe that the last 2 years has just thrown a lot of shade on this group, and they've let it as well. Like you've got to kind of be above it as players. Sometimes you got to find a way to just go play hard, even if stuff is confusing or weird or, you know, out of place. And that's where I do blame the guys, because you're pros and you should figure out and understand how you just can go out and do a job. Even if you don't know what the job is fully, even if it's not going great. The lack of effort stuff has been a disaster. I've done video after video on that stuff, going all the way back to Nations League and before that. And I'm sure I could break down this last Copa America last year, but I'm sure I could break down this last Nations League and find the same kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, it's like Poch's job now is really to compartmentalize 1 year, you know, and he doesn't get to get as much out of this camp as I was hoping he could, but he could still get something out of it. And then he's got to go like maximize the 6-7 day stretches he gets with our guys, you know, and he's got to like just microwave culture in those little moments. And I'm a bit worried, man. Like there's reports he has never talked to certain guys. You know, he's been on the job for like 8 months, 9 months. And he's like, hasn't talked to core guys. They're like, I haven't talked to him yet. And it's like, ooh, like, I don't know.
That's like not good.
It's not good. It feels Phil Jackson Knicks-ish, right? I'll keep putting that comp out there. It's like paycheck. Yeah. Like, thanks for the paycheck, guys. Yeah.
Well, and also too, it's like the best way I could describe like how I feel about this. I truly like just so much riding on it, Adam. I do think this is a do or die moment, not just for Pochettino, but for the USMNT. I think if we look terrible and we don't perform or even give us any hope, which I'm sure we'll have you on to at least break down one of the friendlies and definitely maybe a Gold Cup game or two. I just think this is, if we don't see anything that gives us any hope or optimism, I mean, you might as well just go ahead and cash out. It's over. Like,
dude, I think the fandom, I've been on soccer Twitter for 6-7 years now. You know, I used to just do it on my other Twitter account, my coaching account, basketball coaching account. And I've followed it really closely since about 2018, I would say, since post Kuva, maybe 2019, right? It was really when the team started like playing friendlies again. And we were like, it was pre-Berhalter. And I found soccer Twitter at that point. It was, oh, this is cool. Like there's some accounts on here. It's way different than it is now. But like, this is by far the like most apathetic.
Yeah, it is very apathetic.
Right? Like the most angry was like 2018 to 2020. We were just like so pissed post Kuva. And like, it was just like carryover. Then it was like this era of optimism post-COVID, because it was like, whoa, we've got like 2 18-year-olds playing at top clubs. And there was like almost this like 2 years of optimism. And then it was like, kind of like within that was the Berhalter negativity into the post-World Cup Berhalter negativity. But it's always been passion. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's negative passion, positive passion, right? What do they say? Like the worst thing you can get is like somebody not caring, right? Like
it is, yeah, good or bad. We cared. Yes, we were either mad
or love. Happy. It's like, well, people care, right? They might hate me, might love me, but they care about me.
Yes.
And I honestly, like I still scroll Twitter and I'm like, where is everyone? Like,
It's a ghost. No,
and
I'm telling you right
I
now.
go check people's accounts. I go check, like, I'm like, well, what's up with this guy? What's he been tweeting recently? Maybe he's just not coming on my timeline. I'm like, not really. And me too. I'm sure people are going, where's Stanley USMNT? Is he tweeting? Like, and it's just, there's only so many, and like Blessed Tack, who does every week, does a players abroad breakdown. It's like, there's only so many USMNT player abroad breakdowns that I can watch. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm ready for you guys. Like, and I still flick around, watch games on the weekend sometimes, way less than I used to, way less excited than I was. And I don't really care that much to, listen to Scuff's breakdowns or listen to Tax breakdowns, because I'm like, I get it. You guys are good pros. Like, I get it. Now what? Can this national team thing happen? And to your point, if this camp is a disaster and then like the next couple camps still kind of look like crappy, and whether we change coaches or don't, which we might have to at that point if it all goes crappy over the next 5 months, I'm still just going to be like, I don't know, man. Like, I'll watch the World Cup, but like,
I think we're all at the point, and just to kind of tie this up, is that I think we're all kind of like, believe it when we'll see it. We've just been sold so many false promises about this is the golden generation, this is that, this is this, we're going to win that, just give it this time, 26 is the year, and we just all don't believe it anymore. We don't believe. I would say honestly that rehiring Berhalter was the start of the downfall, and then the grouping was just the nail in the coffin. That, I think, is when everybody was just like, okay, this is not happening. This is not happening.
And we're all waiting for something to spark us again, right? And it's not going to be like a good half against Jamaica. Sorry, Poch. Like, it's going to be, honestly, it's going to be overachieving in this Gold Cup, which winning it would be overachieving, honestly, like down 7-8 dudes. Like, so let me ask you this. Give me, just to kind of, I want to circle back to a little bit of positivity before we get out of here. If you look, can you pull that roster back up again? So if you pull that roster back up, give me like 2 or 3 names on your side. I'll give you mine too. And even if they're the same, we can just kind of both talk about them. Who are the 2 or 3 names that maybe like aren't locked in World Cup guys in our eyes? Maybe they're younger, right? We talked about Luna. But is there anyone else that you're kind of looking at on this roster, 1 or 2 guys that you're like, I'm interested in him? Like, what's that guy going to do this camp? What is he going to show us? Who kind of stands out to you in that way?
Well, I still think that goalkeeper is a big issue. Matt Turner, obviously, if he was playing regularly, there wouldn't be any questions about it, but he's just not, right? He's just not playing regular minutes. I think he needs to move this summer. We'll see what happens with that. I think that spot is up for the taking right now. I think that it's wide open. And Zach Steffen doesn't get me excited. I really would have liked to see, I should have mentioned this earlier, I would have liked to see Chris Brady get a call up because he's been playing really well for the Fire. And we have to have an heir apparent eventually. It's got to be somebody. Because all these guys on here, 24, 25 years or older, which is not crazy old, but, Patrick Schulte is just bland. He's not going to do anything for you. Like, he's very limited. He's just another Matt Turner, honestly, but maybe even less talented. I want to see what Steffen can do if he gets a chance to start. He was supposed to be the guy. He was supposed to be the Tim Howard of our generation, right? He was supposed to be that. He's not. We'll see what he can do. That's 1. 2, I think maybe Luca De La Torre is a guy who's been playing very well for San Diego this year. Arguably their best player in the midfield, Adam, honestly. Like, he has been very, very, and this is an expansion team in Major League Soccer. He has been very important to their success, and he's been playing regularly for them. I want to see what he can do with this group of guys. And the third guy, which I think this one is going to maybe shock you. I know that you probably are less high on this guy than maybe me, but man, Sebastian Berhalter might be the best player American in MLS this summer. Like, honest to God, he might be the best. Like, he has been playing. They are the best team in Major League Soccer, and he might be the best player on that team. Now, Brian White obviously is up there too because he's got 10 goals and he's played really well. But give the man props. He got all these opportunities maybe because of nepotism, but Sebastian Berhalter has been balling out this year, man. And I have to give him credit and give him his flowers because he has 100% earned the opportunity to be on this team. 100%.
So I'm excited. I like a couple shouts that you said there. And in terms of, Berhalter I haven't watched much, but listen, I will absolutely separate him from his dad. Like, I no problem with that, right? Did it with Michael Bradley for years. Like, and Listen, hope he's great. Killer. I haven't watched a minute of him, just being honest. Damian Downs is interesting to me. Also, haven't really watched him other than highlights, but I'm interested in him because I think one, there's some talent there. He's a young striker. I think he's 20 years old, scored, a decent amount of goals in Bundesliga too, which is solid. I mean, to me, it's similar to a young guy scoring a bunch of goals, 20-year-old scoring a bunch of goals in Major League Soccer too. It's not too dissimilar in my opinion. But when you're 20 years old and he has some skill to what he does, like when I've watched at least the highlights, it's like, okay, there's some shit to this guy. Like he can do some things. But I'm excited because one, I'm very uninspired by Ajimong, and I'm very uninspired by Brian White on the international level. And listen, maybe Downs won't be any better right now, and that's fine if he's not. To me, it's like, okay, no harm, no foul. But to me, there's at least potential there for a guy that could potentially grow in the next year to be more. Whereas for me, I see a lot of limitations with both Ajimong and White, and strikers worrisome. Those guys have just been hurt. So it's like there's no guarantee that our top guys are going to be around for next World Cup. And I'm interested to see if Downs can be is he a dude or is he just like a guy,
Just another guy.
Right. And so I hope he gets a chance. Might be tough though, because Poch loves those dudes. He loves White and loves Ajimong. So I don't even know if there's going to be minutes for Downs. The other guy, I'll give you this is kind of like my make or break, and I mentioned a bunch of these guys before, but to me, this is like make or break for Malik Tillman. And it's almost like if you can't, it's like a quarterback, just hey, here you go. Here's the ball, bro. You're starting against the worst defense in the NFL. And it's like, if you can't get it done in this game, and he's going to have that in group games. He's going to here you go, dog. Here's the ball against terrible teams. You better look good. If you can't do it there, then holy crap. And then when we get to the group stage games, it's okay, man, Gio might not be a thing. Luna might be a thing. What are you? Who are you? Right. And what are you going to be on this team? So those are the guys I'm kind of excited to watch.
It's going to be interesting to see. I think it's going to be scrappy. Maybe the quality might not be to what we're accustomed to these days for what you consider an A team. That's okay. I want to see some effort. I want to see some heart. I want to see some passion. I want to see a bunch of guys who look like they actually have a pulse, which you said earlier, it looks like a bunch of just corpses out there almost. They're just NPCs just going through the motions, no life, no soul, none of that.
Bro, if we're if we're pressing a little bit, right? I don't want us to all out press, but if we get to the knockouts and it's we're pressing, we're winning second balls, right? We're when we turn it over, right? We're trying to get it back with that old school energy. We're getting on counters with a ton of life, right? I kind of would be refreshed by that versus man, we weren't able to tiki-taka through. Well, we're never going to tiki-taka through anyone. What are we talking about? And I'm talking about Canada, Mexico specifically, right? I get that we're going to possess through Grenada or whoever we play. I get that. But man, when we have that opportunity to play a little bit of a better team, I'm really interested to see if we can look like the United States. And then if that can carry over to when we have the full squad, it's yo, guys, we're the United States, man. This is what we do. I don't care. We don't need 65% possession. Just go get it done with some grit and some effort and some, countering. And yeah.
No, I agree. We will see in this camp and what this team or this core of guys is made of. If it makes a difference, we will get our answers. We've always wondered if we had a little bit of something different, if it would make a difference. We will see if that is the case. Adam, I appreciate you for being on, my friend. You'll be back on again soon, I'm sure. Make sure you go follow him on Twitter/X at StanUSMNT, which you see down there below. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.